I'm not exactly the most picky person when it comes to streaming originals, since they tend to be really mediocre or just downright bad. Netflix is no exception. I've seen at least a dozen bad ones that aren't worth a penny. At this point, I didn't care what they were, even with popular stars and easy to understand storytelling. So then I saw this movie streaming on Netflix and noticed how huge it was with its audiences and reviews, especially its soundtrack. Out of all the Netflix originals, this one is by far the best I've probably seen. How Sony didn't accept this as a theatrical release, but instead went straight to Netflix, is unbelievable. Well, before they purchase Warner Bros. In the inevitable future, here it is. And now I'm addicted to it, much like everyone else. So, how did Netflix come out of their way with an unexpected animated gem? What music elements make it an instant standout amongst the streaming service? And why does it put every other streaming exclusive movie to great shame? In today's movie review, I'll be talking about the Netflix original KPop Demon Hunters. This is an in-depth analysis of what makes this streaming hit the only good Netflix original. To start with things, the main highlight that carries this movie is its chart-topping soundtrack filled to the brim with completely engaging songs. Some of my favourites of the group are Golden, Soda Pop, and Your Idol, with many of the additional songs added in for good measure being just as good with their original ideas. The more you listen to the music, the more you can witness how well they were written with proper in-depth notes and vocals. Thanks to the soundtrack, it helps separate itself from being a typical musical movie with songs that feel like they have to stop the movie just so that viewers can experience the song. Instead, it blends the music with its choreographed sequences to make it all feel like a live musical stage performance, especially with its strong international folklore. There's a good reason why the songs in this movie are constantly topping the charts on platforms 24/7. Another main shout out for this movie is its futuristic animation being very powerfully bright, which uses modern day technology to its very fullest. Lord have freaking mercy. I want to see those behind the scenes footage on how they created this movie into its final design. Some recent animated movies are gorgeous as heck, but this one takes that way too far. Very similar to its fellow Spider-Verse movies, it blends 2D animation with a very comic book-like aesthetic that mixes very nicely with its 3D animation, adding so much attention to detail for the eye. I've noticed a pattern with Sony movies. I recently talked about how recent DreamWorks movies were absolutely cooking with their movies in the post-pandemic era that could even rival Pixar. Well, I take that back. Sony could be even better since it has way better animation, it's done on a smaller budget, and it has better storytelling. Either way, the vibrant, stylish aesthetic and the colourful world building make this movie one of the best looking animated movies in a while. Adding to its absolutely breathtaking animation and wonderful world building, it also uses some delightful choreographed action sequences, mixing demonic action with awesome musical stage performances. It really does well in making you feel like you're taking part in the action. In fact, it also makes those music videos online feel very much alive on film, taking good ideas from those and blending modern K-pop live performances in order to make its scenery amazing. It has tons of neon palettes, high fashion character design, and loads of vibrant detail that make it extremely lively. It's a very supernatural action that doesn't feel extremely overwhelming. It does slow down when music isn't making waves at the moment. It allows viewers to take a breather and instead focus on its storytelling, which will help you truly understand how this movie functions. The demonic K-pop action sequences should be noted as true events telling us a rivalry between two bands which help show audiences often preferring one over the other, helping create the final moments of significance. Helping its music elements blend with its animation, it mixes in some very in-depth storytelling that makes it instantly come to life. It is nothing short of creative. It's about pop stars fighting demons. Now on paper, that sounds like one of the most boring ideas for a movie ever, but actually it's extremely grounded with some fantastic character development. It has unique metaphors such as the double life explaining that by day, K-pop stars rise to fame in sold-out stadiums, and by night, demonic and badass warriors hunt down demons. This allows its action to just thrive even more, with plenty of high-stakes action that feels very realistic. The characters have explosive fame amongst each other, but also a sense of heroism that makes them everyone's hero. It also has huge Korean folklore, having K-fashion, the food and tradition, and its global appeal being that K-pop is a powerhouse across the world, just overall having one reason that makes this movie stand out across the world. It's interesting, it has a strong appeal, and overall, the story will be much simpler to understand after you've taken a moment to witness how great its music elements are. Lastly, in general, which also combines very well with its strong storytelling, the characters are absolutely awesome in general, with some amazing character development. The whole female empowerment gives the vibe of women being strong people. It's not completely overwhelming, unlike past terrible female-led films I've seen in the past. This one manages to be very connected for both sides of the spectrum. It takes itself away from being a basic damsel and gives the lead girls in this movie a fierce warrior powerhouse, making this movie quite a serious one. The villains in the rival boy band with the Demon King also adds layers of mystery and competition, showing these performances in true style. With its likable characters, it also adds some very sugar-rushing energy, giving a very big sister vibe, which is rare considering films throw these things away with romantic plots. It shows the bond between Rumi, Myra, and Zoe, effectively making use of the aspiring big sister vibe. It's very inspiring in general for the actress beyond playing these characters, all of them with which, together you can feel the talent they need to take into consideration what this movie goes through with its story and music elements. So the characters in general are a major highlight, and once you've seen it all, you'll immediately realize how this movie became an instant streaming hit on Netflix. K-Pop Demon Hunters is absolutely insane for a Netflix original. If you think this is just some ordinary Netflix original, think again. It will blow your mind at just how insane it really is. The soundtrack is filled to the brim with chart-topping songs, the animation is futuristic and overwhelming, the choreographed action sequences are a delight, the premise is creative, it has strong in-depth metaphors, it has huge international folklore, the amount of energy it offers is huge, and the characters are simply a blast. There's just this sort of addiction that this movie offers. It's like a sugar rush. Once you've tasted it, you will have non-stop energy flowing within your veins until it's all over, and you will have no choice but to experience it again. This movie puts every other Netflix original I've seen in the past to great shame, as they are so made in comparison. If there was one movie to break this curse, it was this. Its success should be studied from not just its constant streak of Sony's animated productions, but also how its musical score became an instant streaming hit across all platforms it topped the charts on. Even though I hate Netflix originals with a passion, this one gets a pass. A hard pass. K-Pop Demon Hunters is without a doubt one of 2025's greatest movies that will forever be remembered as a palate cleanser to streaming exclusive movies. Good going, Sony. Aspiring in its sugar-rushing soundtrack, alongside an infectious sense of vivacity with its characters and choreographed sequences, K-Pop Demon Hunters is a Netflix original that's simply golden. My final score for this Netflix original is a 10 out of 10 and a grade S. There's no doubt that something like this can be repeated unless its potential sequel goes even crazier in the future. I was absolutely blown away by just how great this movie really was. It reminded me of all of those live stage musical performances I had seen in the past. I can only hope that this one taught us a lesson on how streaming exclusive movies can still be an amazing experience if the current assets are assured. But with that being said, leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy my review on K-Pop Demon Hunters, and also remember to subscribe if you're new and hit that bell icon to see more content on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Take care of yourselves.